Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, best day of the week. It's we're down a co-host. It's a Jamie and Brandy episode. Michael is jetting off to London right now for the Short Stay Summit, right?
Short Stay Summit. Yeah. Hosted by our good friends Leo and Sarah up on stage this year.
Very fun. Very
Yeah.
fun. How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun?
Yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow. So we went up to the Mountain House, our short-term rental, hung out with some friends and went hiking and did all the fun North Georgia stuff. How about your weekend?
I cooked a lot this weekend. I made ravioli from scratch, which I haven't done in a long time. I did like a pea lemon burrata filling with chive oil. It was very good and had like good friends over for dinner. I haven't done that in a while. And it's we're in the spring of deception right now in Boston, if anyone's in like the Northeast, because it's gorgeous out, but it is 47 degrees. So it's kind of a bummer.
I think we got that entire East Coast chill. It was
Yeah.
old yesterday. I do have a fun guest story though, if you have a second.
Yes. Your guest gossip. I want to hear.
We're not guest gossip. Just want to call out, like, I feel like I've got the perfect guest. So this guy, John, he's in his 70s. I think I've talked about him in the past. He likes to call me in chat, which is kind of weird for a guest to just want to call in chat. But why he is the perfect guest. One, he only books direct. He books multiple months in advance, and he books midweek during off-peak times.
Beautiful. That's incredible. That's really like all. What more could you want? What is he coming to the house? He just likes to hike, or is he there?
He likes to fish.
Likes to fish. Okay.
Yeah, and so sometimes he just comes with his wife. Sometimes he comes with his friends, and they just like the house. And I've got him set up on my direct booking site now, and he just. Like they don't like to travel on the weekends. They don't like to fish on the weekends because it's crowded. So like John, book anytime.
Like, yeah, please. I mean, are you going to give him some discounts? Some returning guest discounts?
He definitely gets the discount. Yeah. He's the only person who's ever booked direct with me through my website. So I just like, keep coming, John. I need more Johns. Yeah.
I love that. Well, a quick shout out to Paul Manzi, as always, tuning in. Said it was 22 in Minnesota this weekend. So I guess you win the false spring wars this morning, because that sucks. That is very cold. But we have some fun topics to get into. Of course, we have AI is in the news again, shocking, but interesting articles about what's going on inside hotel franchises and how that is kind of paralleled to the short-term rental industry. But before we jump in, I want to give a shout out to our April sponsor, Vrbo. We love them. Right now, if you list an eligible property on Vrbo using the link in the show notes, which is vrbo.com/goodmorning, you can earn 1 key cash for your next trip. So in addition to sponsoring the show, you can also get some free money. We always love having them support the show and, love everybody over on their team. But I think before we jump in, usually we, put your stat of the day somewhere in the show, but it's not related to any of our topics. So I think, why don't we start off top of the show? What is the stat of the week?
30%.
30%. Oh gosh, I don't have Michael on here to like help me out. 30% is that a decline in?
No.
Not a decline. Okay, tell me what it is.
You're never gonna guess.
Okay. Put me out of my misery.
Yeah. It's been another week of doing constant World Cup interviews for me. So all my top of the mind is what's going on in the World Cup. So through end of March, we have seen now a 30% increase in overall supply in Kansas City. So it is still the market leading the way. We've seen 12% increase in supply in Jersey City, 12% Fort Worth and Dallas. So there's a few markets, they are just like accelerating around World Cup demand and adding more supply into those markets. So
it's interesting so I don't know if this is just the news bubble that I've been in, but I've been seeing all sorts of things about like demand not meeting expectations. Is that just kind of like, clickbaity stories, or is there some truth to that?
Yeah, and most of it's clickbaity stories. I think everyone wants World Cup demand to happen like 6 months in advance. Wouldn't we
Mhm.
all love demand
Yeah.
to just show up
Yeah.
6 months in advance? Uh,
Exactly.
and now we're in the 30 days before, it's like 50 something days before the start of the World Cup. And like everyone's, I think, doing that sort of look around like, all right, are you booked? I'm not booked. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
In the reality for hotels and the public hotel like CEOs have been very clear about this. Like they did not expect demand to show up in the 30 days prior to the start of the World Cup. And that's the prior to group stage. Like World Cup is like it's a month and a half long event. So a lot of the demand is not going to happen until bookings are not going to happen in the last minute.
Well, until you know that they're gonna be that you're like,
Right.
you're not gonna pay those rates and be like, "Maybe." I mean, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. In the Northeast, there's all sorts of chatter about, all of the, like, transportation woes around this because FIFA isn't I mean, I have lots of feelings about FIFA as an organization, but like
Yeah.
just basically having all of these municipalities or cities be on the hook for the enormous transportation costs. And I think that's just ridiculous. And then you can't have like regular commuters on the I'm gonna try to leave Boston because I like everyone's like, Foxborough's not in Boston. I'm like, I know, but all the people are gonna be staying here.
Yeah.
If you haven't bought hotels, look in Providence. That's actually way closer. Yeah, for all of our international soccer fans that are
Listeners.
listening.
Yeah.
um, but okay, so our first topic for today, as an article written by Luke Martin from Skift about what hotels are getting wrong about AI, and it's a really interesting interview or conversation with Richard Valter, and I actually agree a lot about what he was saying, and kind of saying that there isn't a lot of imagination with how AI is being deployed in the space. And I think we've said this a lot, like there's a lot of just like, oh, here's my app or here's my chatbot or whatever. And I think it's not a hot take that there's a lot of speculation and like hot air in the AI space. It's just a lot of like, what can we do to like shoot up our stock price, not just in the like travel industry, but like in general, but like, what is the technology actually doing? So I think that's a really good point that we haven't really seen. I mean, hopefully this isn't like the peak of what the disruption is going to be.
Yeah, at least it's not like all birds in the short-term rental industry of like,
Oh my God. That was I couldn't even I was so annoyed when I saw that. I was just like, this is the most tech bro BS I have ever seen. Oh my God. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
but I agree. Like the imagination is pretty weak so far, at least on the short-term rental or hotel and short-term rental discovery side.
Yeah.
Like the article gets into how like you go across the major chains and even the OTAs, like our AI in the booking discovery process is essentially, I can type in or maybe even speech to text and talk about what I'm looking to book. And then it's going to find me those either hotels or short-term rentals. So we have moved from specific and let's say dates, amenity filters, and property type to I've got to, which is clickable, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
I'm going to do like 6 clicks to now I'm going to type in like I want to a spacious place with bunk beds and board games. And maybe it gives me a lot more flexibility in terms of what I can search for versus this sort of structured amenities. But ultimately, like, I don't think it's a significantly better experience for the guest trying to find, and maybe you can find more unique properties or more properties with really specific types of offerings. But for the vast majority of search, like, I don't think this is like a step and function better than what was already there with some filters.
Yeah, I agree. And he also mentions like that in general, the AI industry is in its like hyper building phase, and that
Mhm.
no one knows what that's going to look like in a year or two. And so I think we have it. There's applications that we haven't even, thought of yet. And I think, I don't know, for me personally, what I find to be just annoying is like the certainty and, I don't know, pride that people are talking like that they have solved all the problems that AI has just like it's totally at its like revolutionary stage right now. And it's like, it's certainly disrupting, but like we're obviously not at like the peak of what it's going to be or like what it's fully capable of. And so the definitive nature with which all of these companies talk about it is, I think, a little frustrating because it definitely just sounds like it's sound bites for, whatever finance talk show or podcast or whatever they're going on.
Yeah,
Uh,
and ultimately, as much as I love all these OTAs, shout out Verbo sponsor, shout out all the others. Like, and I don't, in my heart of heart, believe that they're the ones that are going to create the innovation. I think
mm,
the innovation in search is probably going to come from some small startup that's vibe coding today, and they're going to
yeah.
launch like this new way to search, discover, travel, and then all the OTAs are probably just going to copy what they came up with anyway, and then incorporate it into their
Lots of
site.
people get acquired. And then, well, I thought it was really interesting something that was mentioned in the article that there will be companies that morph into lifestyle management agents. And part of me is just so annoyed at how much technology really is in like every second of your day has to be managed by an app. But then I also get it. Like I can totally see that if I can do all of my things in one app that manages like my gym scheduling and all of my travel that I have coming up, and maybe it's my personal budgeting software or whatever, like if I can really manage my life in one app, that would be pretty sweet. But to your point, I don't know if it's going to be any of these companies that we think of today, or even if it's someone vibe coding in their garage right now, because I think that so many people are able to build these apps. I have a friend who is currently building his own like budgeting software, and like he's just doing that for fun, and that's probably going to be better than what you can buy right now.
Yeah, and it's personalized. And if you want a new feature, like you can build that feature into it, probably in with a prompt that is good enough to find you a booking as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like these little prompts, like, and it's incredible what it can build and customize your software. So I totally agree.
And to kind of bring it to the STR industry, now we're talking about all these things. I always felt that in the last couple of years, the SDR industry has had some really interesting technology, and that certainly kind of outdoing hotels in the sense of like experimenting with new tech. But now it seems that everything is just outdated. Like, how on earth are these companies able to, like, I mean, you're in the software game. Like, how are companies supposed to keep up if by the time you build something, it's already almost like obsolete or outdated?
No, it's and because yeah, we're in it on the day-to-day basis, building new feature functionality, and like what we thought we were building 2 months ago is now morphing into something different.
Yeah.
But the fact that coding is happening so much faster, like
Mm.
you can pivot so much faster. Like our product managers now, like, and shout out to Jordan, like we're building this new piece of software and he's got the entire thing essentially vibe coded out, like before even our software developers touch it. Like we are like, oh, what happens? You click this, like it's essentially done. And the software team hasn't even started on it yet. And they're just going to make it that much better. Like our design team
Yeah.
hasn't started on it. Like we're able to iterate so much faster in terms of how this stuff builds. Like, what if we move that over here? What if we and make it do this, this, and this? And then instead of working with wireframes or you like fake clicking around, it's like, no, like we've got a fully working prototype that's actually doing it. And all before like we even like begin developing it, it's it's incredible how much faster you can move now building software.
Yeah, also just that point you just made, like the difference between like wireframes and then like an actual functioning app that like
Yeah.
if you just used it for you, like it would work is really crazy. And that's I've been playing and like learning how to like do stuff in cursor and stuff. And it's kind of wild that I'm just like stream of consciousness talking at this thing and then a real product is coming and I don't have the like knowledge of how to build these sites like actually,
Yeah.
correctly. So yeah, I think there's a lot to be seen and it will be interesting like if these key players, especially the software players. I know that we talk about OTAs a lot, but I really think the ones that kind of have the most to lose are the software companies where if they're not actually if what is the value of the product that they're offering if someone, if there's a small operator who could just build this thing for themselves and it works fine and they don't have to pay $40 a listing a month, that it's
Yeah. No,
so
it's true. And then it all goes back to, and in my mind, like you can build these feature functionalities to do it yourself. But then like you get to, okay, now I've got to maintain this software. It's got
yeah.
to work with all my other softwares. Like verse like and the PMSs or the RMS, like all these other companies like seeing these softwares being developed and then just incorporating that feature functionality into their tools so much quicker. Like they've got so many developers working.
Yeah.
So like we're keeping an eye at like what are all the things people are doing around the acquisition side, the investment side, the and revenue management side, and what should we be incorporating into our feature functionality given what people are building today. And it's just like, and it makes the iterative process that much faster. And that's where like the OTAs, I think, are keeping, and whether it's and in the hotel companies, like seeing what people are doing, seeing what people want to do, and in terms of their search process, and then and incorporating that all in.
Yeah, well, if you're listening and you have a cool thing that you're vibe coding, let us know. I'm always curious as to what people are
Yeah,
doing, and because people are coming up with some really crazy out of the box stuff.
yeah,
Well, kind of on the in a not as optimistic side of things, there's another great article that Sarah Copert wrote about the squeeze that's happening in the hotel side of things, like actual hotel owners, not the flags. And
yeah.
so this, we'll let the hotel crew dive in on hotels, but this squeeze is also absolutely happening with homeowners and STR operators. So, kind of what is your take on the financial squeeze that's happening on our side of the industry?
Yeah, and I feel like Sarah and did an amazing chart. And I'm not sure if and Will can do some magic and get this chart, but essentially showed like when Hilton spun off Park, like, and you can see the subsequent change in value that
Mhm.
happened for Hilton, which is asset light, and then Park Hotels, that is asset heavy. It's this
Yeah,
chart right here. Amazing job, Will. So what we see is like this asset light business model where you don't have to own the real estate. You don't have a lot of the or much any of the cost of actually operating these assets. And that business model since 2017 has just exploded. They've 5x their share value, while the operation heavy. So they've got the labor costs of operating these assets. They've got the asset like the actual real estate value.
yeah, like the
We've seen
taxes.
the taxes, the proper, and whether it's property taxes, whether it's insurance, like all these things. And then they also have the and franchise fees for operating as one of these brands, which gets taken off the top line. And you roll all that in, and they've seen their value decrease by 20% over that same period.
It's a really crazy chart. It's like, why would you want to operate? And then, like, I mean, I just always like any operator, STR, a hotel, I just always have such empathy. I'm like, it is always such a beatdown. And then here you have it in like stark graph form. And I think, you made a comment before the show how we don't necessarily talk about owner revenue and like the owner squeeze that happens in our industry. We're always talking about from the companies, but I think anyone who's operating in the traditional like vacation rental market, owners are, if there's owner churn, it almost always has to do with a mismatch in what they think their revenue should be. And I think that we'll have to see how things play out over the course of maybe the rest of this year. But it's like, they're not going to be getting better results at another place, because you might have companies that are competing by really bringing down their commissions, but a company that has drastically lowered their commission structure is not going to be able to sustain operating that business if they're not making enough money to cover their costs. Like, there's a reality of how much things are costing, not just for the company, but also for the owner. The values of their homes might have gone down, especially if they bought during the pandemic. Then they're not getting the revenue. The cost of maintenance is going up, the cost of just the supplies for their homes. So there is like the same squeeze that's happening for hotels is happening on this like micro level for STR owners as well.
I'm sure all the owners of brands part of this Stayterra family would love that you can like articulate the squeeze that they're happening, because I think all too often, and we hear property managers, and the business of property management is hard too, right? They are getting squeezed, and the expenses and they're having to pay the employees that are actually going in and cleaning the property. Like a lot of that, and the software companies that they subscribe to are raising their fees, and a lot of those business models don't scale. Like you get up to 200, 300, 400 properties, you think you're going to get some economies of scales in operating your business, and all too often there's it just becomes way more complicated and doesn't actually scale. So yeah, there's at all layers of the business and a squeeze happening. But I'm just like, when you call out the hotel brands and asset light not seeing a lot of the squeeze or as much of the squeeze, you're also seeing that in the OTAs, the Expedias, the bookings that are able, also asset light, also and great businesses. And it really, and I think came down to, and it was like a last quote that Sarah pulled in that I thought really brought it together well. And it was from Ellie, the IHG CEO, that and really called it out. Like, if someone's not willing to be asset heavy, then they can't be asset light, and the game stops. So
that's kind of,
they have the incentive to make the asset heavy business work. Like, the OTAs have the incentive to make property management work. They have to have it be profitable for the owners that are investing into assets that they're doing. So if they're not driving enough guests into the platform, they're not doing their aspect of the job. Like, there's a reason why. And when you look at the hotel side, that people want to be a Hilton or Marriott or IHG franchisee. Like, they get all the benefits of being part of that platform, all the loyalty members. They get a refinanceable asset. They get, and ultimately, a ton of benefits from being part of that brand. And they've got to make sure that the benefit outweigh the overall cost.
Yeah, I think in the STR side, it might be interesting maybe a year from now when things have settled a little bit, but talking to some of the people that have bought Costco franchises, and it's like, okay, so what does it like? Are you seeing similar things to what the hotels are seeing? Are there some benefit? Are things working differently? Because there just is this, it's interesting because in the hotels, you have like the flag, the Hiltons and the Marriotts of the world, and then they have the asset owner and operator. But in the STR world, you have another component. You have the owners, you have the property management company, then you might have the franchisee and then you have the OTAs and everything. There's more layers to it. And everybody, I think, is feeling a little pinched. And maybe one of the things I dealing with owners, whether it was multifamily or if it's an individual, it's not my strong suit. But I think that there might, if you're an operator that's losing owners to churn, I think there might have to be a re-education and maybe more a like pulling back the curtain of like, here's what your, here's what your commission is going to. This is how much the software costs. This is how much the maintenance costs. Like, this is how much all of this costs. And then there has to be some sort of profit, or else we won't have a business. But so it's having the property management company have some sympathy for the owners. And then that also needs to come back towards the property management company, because everything is just getting a lot more difficult to manage. Yeah. So it's, I don't know. It feels kind of doom and gloomy to me, but then I, I don't know. There has to be, you were saying there has to be some incentive to keep the asset heavy portion going, or else these asset light businesses have nothing. Like, that's what they're being built upon,
Yeah, we'll have to get Michael's comment when he's back, because he is and part of a hotel ownership group that runs an
Yes.
independent brand, and where
Yeah.
essentially they say, like, you know what, the brand isn't going to give us enough value for the property that we have. Let's
Yep.
run it independently, where we don't have to pay those fees, and we can get our bookings elsewhere. So, and that's ultimately, like, if we start seeing a massive shift away in the hotel industry, away from the brands and towards running independently, that there's enough resources out there to drive the bookings that you need without the brands. And for short-term rental owners, operators, like, if your property management company is not giving the benefit, if the OTAs aren't giving you what you need, like, run it yourself, drive your own direct bookings, and good luck, right?
Well, and I think another component of this is one that's definitely playing out in the vacation rental industry, is the generational turnover. Like, the kids or the next generation are not interested in these hotels or in the vacation rental company. And in the article, they're talking, this woman's like, why are we even doing this anymore? Like, what is the point?
Right.
And I'm like, oh yeah, this existential question. So, that's a lot, that's where a lot of these acquisitions are coming. People are like, oh, there isn't the next generation to pass it on to. And I think maybe the bigger question is, like, why is the next generation of this hotel ownership or vacation rental ownership not interested in what appears to be a successful business that's lasted for maybe decades? And I think it was because we are seeing this really kind of existential level change in the value that these businesses are giving to their owners.
Yeah. And I don't see it too different than what we see across the service industry, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Your great grandfather started a car mechanic, and grandpa, like, I don't want to become a mechanic. I don't want to be servicing this. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to do your HVAC repair company. I don't want to do it's fun that you really got into vacation rental management, but you know what? That's not the path for me. And then grandpa or your dad gets to the end of the line of running it, and they're looking to exit, and that's a great opportunity for someone new that does want to get in, because we do see, and there's people every day, young people that do want to get into vacation rental management, do want to get into short-term rental management. They want to do it in a tech-forward way, and that
God, tech-enabled.
Tech-enabled.
Roll my eyes.
All right, let's switch it from tech-enabled to AI native way.
Oh my God. There's all these buzzwords just drive me insane. But yeah, AI native is the new tech enabled for sure. for sure. That's so funny. Well, yeah, again, excellent article. Really encourage all the listeners to go, even if you're not in the hotel side of things, go and read this article. It's really, really incredible. It'll be in the link in the show notes, but it is, the graphs alone are just pretty stark about what's happening. And I'm sure over the coming years, we're going to see how this plays out. But Jamie, anything fun you're doing this week?
No, I am, again, purposely not traveling. And I've got my fingers crossed for a Shorties award tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But
you're not going to be there to accept it.
I'm not going to be there to accept it, though. And it's almost better, because my boss is going to be there to accept it on my behalf. And
I love that.
What better way going into annual reviews? So, like,
yes, exactly. Remember that award they picked up from me.
So we'll see. But happy to be around this week, and a few more weeks without travel before first trip coming up is for the year for me is Verma Executive Summit in May.
Oh yeah,
How's
nice.
your week look?
Oh my God. I'm starting like a 2-week gauntlet. I'm literally, as soon as we hang up from this call, sprinting to a train to New Jersey for meetings I have tomorrow. But it's good. I get to like see coworkers in person. I'm like, sometimes I'm getting a little squirrely in my apartment. So I'm happy to take the train. And then VR Nation at the end of the month. So popping out to Denver, hopefully to see Will and Michael. But yeah, well, thank you everyone for tuning in. Again, thank you so much to Vrbo, our favorite sponsors. Go to the link in the show notes to get your link to get some One Key cash for signing up with them. And as always, thank you to Paul for your live streaming comments. And shout out to Annie and C Cats. I don't know your full name, but thank you so much for commenting and tuning into the show. And we will see you all next week.